Hi everyone, welcome to the SuperClashBros, a podcast where we take a deep dive into the horror stories of Reddit and discuss the things that truly go bump in the night. My name is Trey, and I will be your guide through the strange and unexplainable this evening. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Trey, and today I'm joined by my co-hosts Connor and David. And tonight Connor will be narrating our story. Go ahead, Connor.
Alrighty, tonight's story comes from the subreddit Thetruthishere. This story is by Sensitive Panda 1646, and the story is titled My Experiences as an Irishman in a Very Old Town, Part 1. So here it goes. Apologies beforehand, as it's been a long time since I've posted. This will be a record of my family's and my personal experiences living in a very old part of Ireland. Let's begin. Bullet points will be used in some instances as I can't remember exact ages, dates, and what order things happened in. I live in an extremely old part of an island city in Ireland, a city which has seen uncountable bloodshed and war. To us locals, it is known as Dublin Town. Where I live, my family have lived for generations. We come from a very old Irish bloodline. This will matter later in the story. My street is now made of tarmac, but was once old cobblestones. I have numerous neighbors who have heard the sound of horses clopping outside during night hours, and those of you who know the sounds of horses on cobblestone know it is unique. This is an extremely minor part. My great-grandfather lived at the top of an adjacent laneway to my house in what we know as tenement housing. Story goes, one night on his way home from work, in the very early morning hours, he heard a low growl behind him. When he turned, he saw a large black dog with burning red eyes at the bottom of the lane. This laneway is a steep hill and maybe 100 feet long. It is quite narrow. He ran to the door facing down the lane and proceeded to make his way up to his room where his wife and children lived, including my grandfather. His room faced the laneway and was 2 or 3 floors up. As he looked at the window and saw the black, red-eyed dog sitting at the top of the lane, maybe 20 feet from his tenement door, staring up at him. This dog is not a good Irish omen. My oldest aunt once saw what she thinks was the Banshee as she walked home from a night of partying in the early 1980s, a woman dressed in white, combing her hair and what sounds like unnatural crying. She was sitting atop a 20-foot high wall. My uncle, who is from a different country and is extremely pragmatic, was once driving through the countryside and swears he's seen one of those little people, a leprechaun, sitting beside a bush. Now I will begin my own personal stories. I apologize for the length of this post, but I feel it is time to share my experiences. As a child, myself and my 3 siblings shared the same bedroom. Sadly, when my mother was pregnant on my little sister, she was hit by a car and my sister suffered some health problems when she was born. One night, when we were around 7 or 8 years old, I woke up to the sound of my little sister having a conversation in the pitch-black room. I slept in the top bunk and will never forget peering over and groggily asking what she was doing. She was sitting on a chair and told me she was talking to our grandfather, sounding so excited. Our grandfather had passed away a few years earlier. That's when my family realized she was special. Due to the circumstances surrounding her birth, she was not meant to survive, but against all odds, she did. When I was around 12, myself and my little brother, who was maybe 8 or 9, were alone in our bedroom. We had stayed up very late playing games as young siblings usually do, parents thinking we were asleep. Our bedroom door was ground floor, and the window faced the same huge old slate wall my aunt had seen the Banshee decades earlier when we heard it. I can't describe the exact sound, but it will be forever etched in my memory. I've heard all sorts of urban foxes fighting, wild cats fighting. It was an unnatural crying, sort of like a guttural, but also high-pitched screeching, like the sound of a cat being mutilated on our windowsill. Both in terror, we froze, and my little brother, being a curious kid, wanted to look out. I stopped him and remembered what our father had told us. Explanation at the end. He asked me what it could be, maybe in the hopes being the oldest brother I would have some sort of natural explanation. I dared not say it aloud in fear she would hear us or come for us, and whispered about our father's warning. It lasted what felt like hours, but may have just been a few minutes, and slowly made its way from our house, the sound of it moving into the distance while still making that fear-inducing sound that will never leave me. Shortly after we got into bed beside each other, and both agreed we heard the Banshee. Our father once warned us of a woman with long black hair covering her face. She would wear a white dress and be combing her hair. To those who come across her, she would appear to be crying and ask for help. If you speak to her or look at her face, you will die, or one of your family will come to serious harm. He had some stories his father passed on and so forth, but I can't remember them. This was before I heard of my aunt's sighting. I will create a second post as writing this has helped me remember other childhood experiences. It will not be my last experience with the Banshee. So what do you think, guys? Other than the various grammatical errors and run-on sentences I tripped over going through.
I was about to say, yeah, my eyes tripped over those a few times too.
It's okay. We all make mistakes while reading these posts.
I don't know.
Like,
I'm still trying to
hopefully people cut us some slack.
Yeah.
But
in my opinion, but yeah, I'm kind of
back to this story. You know, like I've heard of, you know, the Banshee before and how it just like wails and stuff. And I think if I honestly were to hear it like in person, it would scar me for life. You know, like I would be traumatized forever. Probably have nightmares. I don't know about you guys.
Well, all three of us are of Irish descent. So, you know, I mean no disrespect when I say this.
Careful there, little one.
I kind of don't believe in things like banshees, just because there have been times growing up where I heard an animal make like an awful noise, and I just assumed immediately it was like a monster or worse, right? Only to come to find out that it was like a very general animal that you would find anywhere, and I just didn't know what noises it made, right? And I was very shocked by that. The example was, you know, I once thought there was like a Bigfoot or something. It turned out to be fucking bulls, probably. You know, like
you talking about at the old place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And how many of us have ever heard, other than before watching like a YouTube video or something, have heard like a puma screaming in the forest or something, right? Like I've never heard one of those in person, and if I hadn't, you know, used a YouTube video or something to find out what the noise was, I'd have no idea. I'd assume it was a freaking monster. So, my 2 cents on it.
Run into a lot of puma monsters out there, do you?
I mean, hey, you know, they're probably in the forest. They make horrible screaming noises, though, I've heard.
I mean, yeah, like, regardless of whether it's something, you know, I guess mystical or just another animal, like, it, you know, it can still be traumatizing and terrifying. Speaking of, I wonder what the Banshee would technically be classified as. Is this like a paranormal thing, or is this like a cryptid?
I think it falls more on like the lines of like animals of folklore, such as like fairies and leprechauns and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Is it folklore like that, or is it more akin to like the Jersey Devil or like Mothman?
Jersey Devil and Mothman are more modern cryptids, modern folklore. These are like long-lasting folklore, like the, you know, dragons, unicorns, that kind of shit, you know?
Yeah, the whole Banshee idea has been around for a long time.
But I have heard that, you know, he mentioned in his story, assuming it's he or she, they mentioned in their story that their aunt had seen or was it their aunt or they had seen a black dog, and I've heard that story many times, that like a black dog is like a bad omen sort of thing, and
like a black cat crossing your path or whatever.
Yeah, there has been so much mythology of a black colored animal equaling something bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, like if you encounter a crow nearby or whatever, you've been marked for death or whatever.
Or like a black cat.
A black bird, a black cat, all this stuff. Like, I mean, black is just, I mean, the indicator of, you know,
as someone with a black dog and a black cat, I must be super unlucky.
Dude,
Now that
I
you're
mean,
just like a witch, you know.
either that or since you've got a black dog and a black cat, they cancel each other out. So they constantly have spiritual wars that you're not even privy to, man. Like the astral plane is just them constantly going at it. But
well, let's just not go around breaking any mirrors or anything. Let's just leave it at that.
Probably shouldn't.
yeah, I actually when I was driving home the other night, there was this little black cat that ran across the road, right about 50 feet in front of me while I was driving, and I'm like, and here we go.
And then his tire blew him.
I was just waiting.
Now David has bad luck for the next 3 weeks.
I mean, I've got a black cat, so I think I might, be able to fight off that evil. I'm not sure because he is evil himself. So.
You embrace the evil.
Yeah, I embrace the evil.
When
I saw that cat run across the street. I'm like, okay, something's either gonna get me soon, or my little man Boots is protecting me. So I'm not sure which. Like this was a couple weeks ago, so it may have the bad may have already happened, but it might have just been so slight that I didn't notice it. But no, I think the banshees are definitely like, even though I think that it's one of those things where it's more of a you'll hear it versus seeing it, because I mean they do have a very profound screech/scream, and I know that a lot of animals, like Connor had mentioned, like before you see this animal make a sound, you don't know what sound it makes. So like being able to associate that sound with something, which I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of, like, what are they, like goats or something screaming when they're mad, and they sound horrible.
Rabbits will scream like a person if they're in danger. Like, nobody knew that, the normal person, unless they've heard a rabbit scream, would have no idea they scream like a person.
Right, yeah. You just turn around, look at the garden, like, what the hell's in the garden?
See a rabbit get killed by a fox or something, you'd be like, oh, yeah.
Well, now, so is the banshee the dog, or is that a separate occurrence? Because in here, in the story, it describes the banshee as a woman with long black hair covering her face.
It's
that wears a white dress.
That's the actual.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the actual like lore definition. Is the whole.
That was part of one of their side notes. I think that and the leprechaun story as well.
It's interesting. This is the first time we've had a part 1 to a story. We'll definitely have to follow up in later episodes.
Yeah, if there's enough interest, we'll mention in the comments if you want to hear a part 2 or 3. I think there was 3 parts to this initially.
3 parts, Jesus.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us tonight on this one, guys. If you have any stories you'd like to submit, you can do so via our email, which is scspookycast@gmail.com. We'll leave that in the description below. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all our content. You can also follow us on Twitter, and we have a TikTok as well. We do another podcast and some gaming videos that are pretty cool, so go check that out and share them with your friends and family. We got merch. Go copy some merch. Rep the channel. And yeah, so we hope you guys have a safe and spooky night, and we will catch you on the next one.